Hello, fellow rebel capitalists. I hope you're well. Wanted to go over the clip that's really gone viral all over the United States on the internet, social media, I'm sure outside of the United States. And this is a clip of Joe Rogan talking to the main doctor at CNN. I think Dr. Gupta is his last name. And if you haven't seen it, Joe Rogan just absolutely annihilates, verbally smashes this guy because if you remember, CNN came out with the fake news where they were saying that Rogan was taking horse dewormer, and of course, not going into the nuance of that the version of, you guys know what he was taking, was meant for humans, and therefore, so by saying that he was taking horse dewormer, that was just an outright lie. And so my hat's off, first and foremost, to Mr. Gupta for going on Joe Rogan in the first place, because I don't think too many on CNN or MSNBC would be willing to do that. So I've got a lot of respect for the gentleman. Now, that said, Joe Rogan really pushes him as he should have pushed him. And you can see that the doctor really had no rebuttal for Joe whatsoever. And I think throughout this clip, you're going to come to the conclusion that this doctor may have not been prepared for this interview, but he might not know as much as CNN, or he might not be as researched. I think that might be the word I'm looking for, as CNN would have you to believe. And then I'm sure many people, or you've seen it on the news, this clip, or many people comment on it. But I think when we conclude this video, I'm going to take it a little bit different direction and connect some dots that I don't think other people on YouTube have connected. So let's get into this really quick here. Here is the clip. And let me go ahead and turn up my mic so you guys can hear it. And let's see, I'll bring my computer a little closer.
They're lying at your network about people taking human drugs versus drugs from
It's
veterinary.
calling it a horse dewormer is not a flattering thing. I get that.
They're unfavorably framing it as veterinary medicine. Don't you think that a lie like that is dangerous on a news network when you know that they know they're lying?
Listen,
Do you think
want to-
that's a problem, that your news network
was not-
lies?
Why did they do that? I don't know.
Let's bring in Media Buzz host Howie Kurtz.
Okay, so I'm not going to go over the full clip. You guys can see that other places on YouTube and whatnot. Let me get the volume back down. And first and foremost, I want to point out something that I'm very optimistic about. And this is that we are having a conversation, and people like Joe Rogan have so much influence, and they have such a vast audience. And it gives me a lot of hope that just, I don't have to necessarily agree with Rogan on everything, but at least the guy has common sense. And to know that there's people out there that have a lot of influence, that have huge communities, and that are willing to listen to both sides of an argument and are coming to a conclusion that deals with a lot of common sense, or at least involves common sense. that gives me a lot of optimism for the future. And it just shows you what a great tool YouTube can be, or just social media, or getting out there on the internet and building a community, spreading a message, and standing up and fighting for, what we like to do on this channel, fighting for freedom and liberty. But in Rogan's case, I think he would fall into that category as well. But he's just standing up for truth. And he, ironically enough, he's the one that's really standing up for the scientific process and going back and forth, hearing all sides. He's standing up for free speech, very against censorship. And I think that's absolutely fantastic. And I think we need a lot more Joe Rogans out there. And if we had them, I think our probabilities of winning this battle would be a lot higher. But the fact that we've got one at least, or several if you consider some of the other people in his space, then that gives me hope for the future. But more importantly here you heard that, and I know they edited it. It's Fox News, so I'm not a big fan of Fox News either. But they're going to edit it to make this doctor look as bad as possible. But even if you listen to the full clip without it being edited, you'll see that the doctor really had no answer for Joe whatsoever. And if you listen to longer clips, you kind of see that he might not really know his research as well as you would expect. Let me give you an example. Joe talks about how many people worldwide have taken this medicine. You guys know exactly what I'm talking about. And Dr. Gupta says something to the effect that, yeah, it's been taken by, millions of people. And as soon as I heard that, I was like, oh, no, 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 no. It hasn't been taken by millions of people. It's been taken billions with a B people all over the world. Now, sure, a lot of these people may have taken it twice or 3 times, but it's been administrated billions of times. And this is something that it's blatantly obvious that Dr. Gupta did not know. And it's not that he just didn't say that because he didn't want to admit to it. You can tell that he did not know the facts. He did not know the data. And so you have to kind of scratch your head and you're like, wait a minute. How does the main doctor for CNN not know what should be a very basic fact? So that kind of brings me to the conclusion that, okay, although the mainstream media, and in this case, CNN, is putting this guy up on a pedestal, basically saying that every one of their viewers should just listen to what this guy says and just obey. Just don't do any thinking for yourself. Just this guy's the expert, quote unquote, and therefore you can trust that anything he says is accurate. So I think that we really need to push back on that, but especially when you realize the overarching narrative of CNN in the mainstream media. For this, let's go to an article that I found from CNN. And this is, I believe, CNN Business. Oh, now they're giving me some sort of pop up here. No, thank you. And the title of this article is the 4 words. These 4 words are helping spread medicine misinformation. And let me go back to this Forbes article that I've used several times on this channel. And this article I think has a more direct title, but the message is still the same. You must not do your own research when it comes to science. You see, this is what the mainstream media is trying to lead you to believe. That don't use critical thinking. Just sit down, shut up, and obey. We are the chosen few. We are the intelligentsia. We are the enlightened group. All you guys are is just dumb rubes sitting at your house in the real economy. You're just too stupid to understand what we understand. Therefore, you shouldn't use any critical thinking. You shouldn't do any research. The only thing you should do is what we tell you to do. Now, this is obviously very dangerous thinking. And of course, the 4 words that they're referring to, I just highlighted here, are do your own research. So the mainstream media is sitting there telling you that you should never do your own research when it comes to your own health. But yet, it's blatantly obvious that the person that they say you should rely on for all the research is someone that hasn't done very much research at all. Because again, my point here is that when you listen to that conversation with Joe and Dr. Gupta, it's painfully obvious that he hasn't done much research if he doesn't even know how many times this particular medicine, which he should have researched extensively, He doesn't even know how many times it's been administered, not even close. So if he doesn't know that, you can safely assume there are a lot of other things that he hasn't researched either. But yet, CNN is saying, don't do your own research. Listen to this guy right here that hasn't done any research himself. That's effectively what they're saying. So when you listen to this clip, I think it's nice to see Joe pushing back, and it's great to see that the freedom movement or the common sense movement really has a voice like Joe. And again, my hat's off to the doctor for going on his show in the first place. Hopefully more people on CNN, MSNBC will go on Joe's show, because I think the back and forth is really valuable regardless of what your political leanings are. But I think the more important takeaway is to understand that the global elite, the politicians, the central planners, whether it's at the Federal Reserve, whether it's at the health institution, which I'm not going to mention, or whether it's with the World Economic Forum, they all have the same view, but yet when you peel back the layers of the onion, you see that they know, they understand far less than you do. All right, Josh, we have any super chats, buddy? Okay, guys, enjoy the rest of your afternoon or evening. Have a fantastic weekend. Always stand up for freedom, personal liberty, free market capitalism. We'll see you on the next video.